Okay, guys, I'm back. Let's try this again. Happy Sunday. Sorry we got cut off earlier. So rather than have it all broken up, I'm going to actually just start from the beginning. So for those of you who are joining live, welcome back. Appreciate you returning. If you're catching this on the replay, on either LinkedIn or YouTube or on my website, I appreciate you guys making that investment in me and in your personal development. For those of you who don't know me, or maybe it's the first time you've caught one of my live streams, you don't really know what I'm doing. I want to make sure I'm diligent in sharing that information with you guys. So my name is Marcy Batiste. I have a company called Bankable Success Advisors, and it's a leading. Sorry, guys, I'm having trouble. We're a leading personal recovery organization and specializing in trauma recovery. So on the business side, I work with businesses on business contingency, disaster recovery, and workplace and domestic violence. And then on the personal side, it is personal trauma recovery. And so what I do is I work with individuals and businesses both, but helping them with personal, financial, and emotional so they can get the best return for them. And so the heart of my business, though, is the work I do with domestic violence and trauma recovery, healing from past years, loss, failures, hurt, pain, and life. And 2018 is about to take all that to a whole new level. So 2018, it's time to raise the bar. I committed next year of my life to investing in the personal development and transformation of 1,000 women. And this is like for real. It ignites me, it excites me, and I am just honored to have already gotten the year off to such a great start. So one of the things that I've been doing for the last couple of months is doing reading challenges, different reading challenges. So for instance, in November, I did 30 books in 30 days. In December, I did 30 teachings from one book, which was my second book, Journey to Find Your Butterfly Potential. And I decided, number one, that I love doing this stuff, that I love being able to share these takeaways with you guys. And as I continue to build my personal development, being able to share that stuff with you, and being able to share with you some of my favorite books, some of the game-changing books that I've read over the years. But I decided that 30 books in 30 days was too much because I couldn't get into the topics like I wanted to. Hey, Yvette. And 30 days on the same book was a little bit too long because it became a little bit repetitive. So I said, well, since we're all about raising the bar for this year and taking stuff to the next level, how can we up-level this reading challenge? And so I opted for 30 books in 30 weeks as my challenge for 2018, the way I'm going to raise the bar. And, I'm a firm believer that I can't ever ask somebody else to do something I'm not willing to do. So how can I ask you to invest in personal development if I'm not willing to? And how can I ask you to raise the bar if I'm not willing to? And so this 30 books in 30 weeks was really a way for me to raise the bar on increasing my reading, increasing my sharing, and just really truly challenge myself and be willing to challenge myself. So we started the year off with The Power of Full Engagement, which is one of my very, very favorite books, and I decided to start the year with that particular book because the principles are game changers. They're simple to implement, and they really, really, truly shift the atmosphere on your success, whether it's personal training, whether it's physical chasing, relationship goals, whatever the case would be. So today, because we're on day 7 in the very first week of 30 weeks, I wanted to bring that all together. So bring in all of the stuff that we talked about this week about the power of full engagement. Bring those together for you in one video. We'll go over the strategies. We'll go over what that looks like in real life, and then wrap it up. So the power of full engagement, three simple principles. Number 1, you got to be physically energized. Number 2, you have to be emotionally connected. And number 3, you have to be spiritually aligned. And physical energy sounds like it's pretty obvious what it should be, but unfortunately a lot of us don't know what it takes to build up physical energy, to increase our physical capacity for energy. And so that was we invested some time talking about what does that look like, how do you do that. There's a couple ways that you can do it. Number one is make sure you get enough sleep. 7 to 8 hours is that sweet spot for sleep. They say if you exceed 10 hours, you're 1.5 more likely to die at an early age. And if you decrease it to under 4 hours, 4 hours or less, you're 2.5 times more likely to die at an earlier age. So really, truly, resting your body, resting your cells, resting your organs is very, very, very important to building up and having the physical energy that you need to be fully engaged and to participate in your life. You want to be an active participant in your life. The second thing is making sure that you're strategic about your eating. Multiple meals, small meals, watch your carbohydrates. Basically, they want you to keep that blood sugar level. That's going to keep you from having hunger pains. It's going to keep you from having the mood swings. It's going to keep you just more in more of a physically balanced state. Not to mention the weight loss benefits if you're somebody who needs to lose weight. And the third part is exercise, which seems like if you're trying to increase physical energy, then you should probably just rest and not exercise. But actually, the opposite is true. When you exercise, it teaches your body how to function in optimal capacity. And so this is all about optimization, right? And so making sure that you're incorporating cardio, interval training, and then strength training. And most of us know what cardio looks like: the running, the treadmill, elliptical machine, stuff like that. Interval training is when you take it from a base level. So you might be walking at a fast pace, and then you run for a few minutes and get your heart rate way, way, way up. And then you do that for maybe a minute or two, and then you bring it back down. And then you walk for a couple minutes, and then you bring it back up. So that's what interval training is. You can actually, if you incorporate interval training into your training program, you can actually decrease the amount of time you have to exercise, because it's supposed to be that much more beneficial. It builds your lung capacity faster. It's better for your heart than sustained high intensity cardio. And there's lots and lots of research out there, so I won't go into all of that in detail. But then the strength training, ladies, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder. Stop it. Stop, stop, stop. I've been lifting weights for the last 7 or 10 years, something like that. I don't look like a guy. I still have my boobs. I still have my poochie parts. Like, I'm still fluffy. I'm still soft. I'm still, all those things. You don't have the testosterone in your body. So unless you're extreme and you are truly a bodybuilder and you're doing the things that bodybuilders need to do, then that's when you see those dramatic transformations. But in general, for physical engagement, you don't need to go that hard in the paint. So not much for you to worry about. The second component is to be emotionally connected. And I actually invested a couple days talking about that emotional connection, because, a big part of my coaching and recovery services is curing emotional bankruptcy. And it's that just feeling empty, like there's nothing left. You've given everything you have to everyone along the way. You have nothing left for yourself. And the building emotionally connection, like understanding what emotional intelligence is. Like, most people don't even know that they have an emotional IQ. We hear about IQ and we think about testing skills and I don't know, grades in school and that sort of stuff. But really, your emotional IQ is just your ability to actually manage your emotions, being able to identify, like, is this a positive emotion? Is it a negative emotion? And then figuring out, where did this come from? Why am I having the emotion that I'm having? Is it fear? Is it frustration? Is it anger? Is it disappointment? What is sparking this level of emotion that I feel? And then how strong is it? So you want to keep an idea, like, pay attention to what things piss you off. Pay attention to what things make you sad. Pay attention to what things, and then the levels of how your emotions go up and down. Some people are on just a constant roller coaster of emotional roller coaster. And that's exhausting. It's taxing on your body. It's taxing on the people around you. And it's toxic for your health. So learning to manage and optimize these emotional, your emotional bank account is what I call it, is critical. And that emotional intelligence is that piece, like I said, where you learn to manage the emotions to keep things as positive as you can. Understanding stuff is going to happen. You're not going to be happy all the time. Nobody is. Nobody expects you to be. But learning to manage those so that for the most part, as often as possible, you can remain at an even emotional level. So you're not always super, super happy or super, super sad. You don't have these extremes going on. It's kind of well balanced out. We talked about, I'm trying to think, we talked about how do you do that, right? So now that we know what emotional intelligence is, we know what that emotional bank account looks like, how do you keep that balance? And I tell people, practice when it doesn't matter. So practice keeping your emotions in check when it doesn't matter. And examples that I gave are ways that I do it. Like, I know that Walmart on Saturdays is probably going to make me irritated. It's crowded. People are rude. They're pushing and shoving. They never have enough cash registers open. I know this. I know this to be true without a fact. It's been that way for as long as Walmart's been around. So part of the exercise in managing that emotional bank account is I try to, as much as possible, avoid Walmart during holidays, on the weekends, when they're going to be crowded, and I go at off hours if at all possible. Or I don't go at all. That's my preference, honestly, is to just not go at all. But, Walmart is the business. So I do end up going, but I'm really strategic about when I go because I know it's going to invoke emotions that are not like, there's no point. But then there are times when I have to go. And in the shopping line at Walmart and at the grocery store too, the grocery store is another place. That's when I can practice building and expanding my emotional capacity because I know that the line's going to tick me off. I know that when they open up the register next to me, when I've been standing in line and 5 people get in front of me and they're out of the store and I'm still in the same place. Woosah. And so I practice my woosah and I just distract myself. I might play on my phone, grab a magazine, do something, start random conversation with some stranger in line. Who knows? I'm weird like that. But something that's going to distract me from the fact that this line seems like it's the longest line in the store. Traffic. I did the same thing with traffic. Like, traffic's going to be bad at rush hour. Don't drive in rush hour traffic if you don't have to. But if you have to, it's a perfect time. Listen to some mood music. Put on some personal development. Distract yourself from the things and then pay attention. The key here is to pay attention to the impact on your emotional levels when you do these things. Because what you want to see is that if it sparks a negative emotion, that you're able to manage it and bring it back down to a realistic level. That's that management piece. We want to keep it as positive as we can. And the third thing is to be spiritually aligned. And I talked about, for spiritual alignment, not being, when I say spiritual in this context, I'm not speaking religious. Now, religion may be a component of your spirituality, but we're not talking about a religious realm here. We're talking about success and personal development. And like I said, religion can be a part of spirituality, but at the base, then in this way, in this context, spirituality really is talking more about the beliefs that you have. What are your values? What are your core values? And so your spirituality is connected to that core set of beliefs. And so that's how religion fits into that, because most of us are propelled by a number of religious beliefs. And then I think that, I know for me anyway, I don't go to church every Sunday, but I have a personal relationship with my higher power, which in my world is God. In yours, it might be Allah, it might be something else, might be Buddha. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But whatever is creating this deep core values, it could be family, could be a core value. How you treat people can be a core value. And so your spiritual alignment is how do you and your behaviors line up with those core values? Are you diligent to them? Are you committed to them? Or do you compromise them? And when you start compromising those core values, then that's when you become spiritually out of alignment. And one of the things we talked about is what's the muscle that moves? What is the muscle that moves the spiritual alignment? What is it that drives that? And they say that's courage. And the courage is when you exercise that commitment to those core values, regardless of what else is going on. You stay true to those. You don't compromise those. And I shared an example for me in an old relationship, and I was seeing a counselor at the time, and she said to me, so we were talking about why I stayed in the relationship, and she said, so you mean to tell me that you sold your soul to feed your ego? And what I realized in that moment was that the reason I was suffering and having the pains and the struggles that I was having was because I had compromised those core values that were deeply held by me. And so that meant I was spiritually out of alignment. You can't be fully engaged if you're not aligned spiritually with your core beliefs. And so those are the three components that we talked about: the physically energized, emotionally connected, and spiritually aligned, the powerful engagement. This was a great read. I encourage you guys to get out there and get that book if you haven't already. If you have questions about it, hit me up. Yeah, it's been a great first week. So tomorrow we start week 2. I haven't decided for sure on the book. I think I'm going to do Women Who Love Too Much as part of the lead-in for my campaign for my thousand women that I'm committed to doing transformations with this year. So that's probably going to be what I go with for next week. Tune in tomorrow so that you can see what I actually end up choosing. And just a quick reminder too, if you're interested in raising the bar, the coaching program starts on January 15th. I extended the year-end deal, so you're still getting at a really, it's about 70-80% off right now. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you're having a magnificent Sunday, a great weekend, and we will talk soon. In the meantime and in between time, I love you, I appreciate you, and thanks for living life on Mars, guys. I'm out.